Welcome. I'm Kirsten,
And I'm Sam.
and we're here to chew the metaphysical fat. Woohoo!
Yes, we are. Woohoo! Today we're
Woohoo!
joined by a wonderful guest, one of the ex-spiritual panel, a truly beautiful divine feminine human, and you can find her on X under Rock That Truth, our lovely friend, Rockelle.
Yay! Hey,
Hey,
Rockelle.
Hi. Thanks for having me, ladies.
thank you. Oh,
Well,
we've just saying to Kirsten
yeah,
before, we're really excited to have you on because you've always got so much to say.
Oh.
we we really are. And such beautiful energy. Oh my gosh, I love it. Woo!
Wow, you're like a fairy. You are. We love you. You are. You're like a little nature fairy. So to put you in the garden and let you like roam free.
I know. That's where I feel the most natural is in the garden. So thank you for picking up on that.
Yeah,
Can relate.
that was kind of what we were going to talk about. I know it's a bit done to death in it, but we kind of just want to know how it all started with you, Raquel. Like, I'm assuming you've not always been on the spiritual path, and you've had kind of an awakening, or do you feel like it's been a slow burn? Like, what's your story over that?
Mm. Well, I would say I've always had a spiritual essence about me. Like when I was a little girl, my sister and I, who's a year younger than me, we could always pick up on spirits and see into the spiritual realm. But there was a day when I told my little sister, I don't want to see it anymore. And I shut it off. Like I turned it off and I turned it off until I got pregnant,
Oh,
honestly, until I was about, yeah, like 25 years old. And when I got pregnant is when I turned it back on and realized, oh my God, I don't want to vaccinate my babies. And I kind of started going down rabbit holes. And it was really the vaccines that woke me up. And then from there, I started learning the truth about pharma and what pharma represented and cancer and just had some huge things happen in my life, like having babies, choosing not to vaccinate both my children and going through that experience, which puts a target on you.
yeah.
And but I didn't care. I was like, you know what, whatever. Like if you want to hate me and talk shit about me, whatever. I'm not going to put these things in my children. I knew that we were so powerful that we didn't need it. But I didn't know it. It was weird. It was like totally my spirit. Like my human didn't know, but my spirit knew. And thankfully, my husband went along with it and was like, okay, yeah, we can do this. And then from there, my daughter, who I had, and when she was 2, my mother in law got pancreatic cancer. So then I woke up to the cancer world and how, oh my God, there's a whole nother aspect to pharma killing people through chemotherapy. And I woke up to that. And then shortly after that, COVID happened. So it was like I was already on my path. Like I was taking the route back to spirit. And I didn't even know I was
Yeah.
doing it. And then when COVID happened, I just like had a brick on my chest just lift off and it was like, I want you to know the truth, Raquel, because that's when I started to find out about the children and the adrenochrome and just Hollywood. And my sister she was always telling me stuff in the back of my head, like, but I didn't believe her. I thought she was a little cuckoo. I was like, Ashley, because she could never conform to the system. So I always thought something was wrong with her. But then now I know she didn't conform to the matrix because she's a star seed. Like she was never supposed to conform. And
Yeah.
it just like it blew open from there. And then I started learning about the Q movement and I just kept going. And now I'm in like this beautiful consciousness where I kind of know now like what the tricks are. Like I'm figuring it out. Like they want to trick us to go up there, but really we need to stay down here with our planet. So it's just, I don't know, it's just been a beautiful journey and spirit has led me the whole entire way. Like source, like I have had source around me the whole time.
Yeah. I
That's
mean, going back to you
so
being pregnant, that's really interesting. Was there a specific thing? Because it's just going back to my own pregnancy. When I was pregnant, it's like I was a bit similar. I've always kind of seen spirit, but again, I shut it down. I went a little bit wild. I did my own thing, and then I had my babies, and it was like Earth Mother kicked in a little bit. But it was like 'cause when you bring a baby into your womb, you're literally you're opening your channel, aren't you? You're channeling that baby's consciousness into like the physical realm. I think that really does something to you. Do you think that had something to do with it?
You know, I think it was that, but I also think it was one person. One person said to me, Rockelle, you should really look into vaccines. And this is when I just got pregnant. And when he said that to me, I was like, what do you mean? Like, it was just the question that I was like, oh. And then I started doing research. And back then, because that would have been like in 2002. And no, sorry, 2012. It would have been 2012 when I had my son. And I was like, what do you mean look into vaccines? Because I had taken vaccines, even though I was born in 86. So it wasn't as, how it is now, like 72 a year, or 72 by the age of 19. It was a lot different back then.
Are you 38
So,
then, Raquel?
ma'am?
Are you 38? You're the same age as me. I was
I'm
born in
39. Yep.
39. I was born in
Yep.
86. I'm 39
Yeah.
this year. Yeah,
Yep.
and I had my first baby in 2012.
Wow, what a nice think. Oh my God, I love that. Yep. I had my son. But it was just the question, just that question of like, hey, you should look into vaccines. And then, back then you could find a little bit, but there wasn't a lot on the internet.
Yeah.
And I found a couple videos of like people, at talks and talking about vaccine reactions. And I was like, oh my God, like this is what's causing autism. And then I just went from there and I trusted my gut. But I didn't even know I was trusting my gut. That's how I was not really connected yet. I was still just kind of going through what I believed. You know what I mean? Like it was different. It wasn't like, but it was spirit leading me, but I didn't know that yet. I didn't know.
Yeah. Like it was there pushing you,
Yeah.
because I feel
Yeah.
like something similar happened to me, because like it's always been there, but it was like it's not fully switched on, is it? And it's really funny you mentioned the vaccine. I got my children vaccinated, unfortunately, but even then I was like, there's something not right with this, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And my mother-in-law was like, oh no, you've got to get them vaccinated, and you'll
Yeah.
get really poorly, and I got really like kind of like guilt tripped into it.
They
Um,
scare you. Mm-hmm.
yeah, they do frighten you. But I mean, in England we had the whole Andrew Wakefield thing, who's like Dr. Wakefield, and
Oh,
he
I love
was
him.
he was the MMR whistleblower, and they dragged him through the actual coals, didn't they? Really, they
Oh,
completely ruined his life.
yeah, they tore up his character. And I remember finding him in the beginning and being like, oh my God, I actually trusted him. I could discern, but I didn't know I was discerning. But I could
Yeah,
tell that he had a good spirit in him and what he was doing was real. And then they shut him down. I could feel the frequency behind all that. So he was one of the first people I found. Yep.
yeah. You got any questions, Kirsten?
I do. I was just thinking, first of all, it's really awesome. I love how you described following spirit even when you didn't know, because that's been my experience too. Like it just kind of guides you in the right direction. The right people say the right things, and you just end up, waking up in your own way. And I'd like to segue into what you said about nature. But first of all, when did you discover Q, and what really drew you to that?
That is interesting because I remember back in the day, I was on Instagram and I was following because of the truth about vaccines and cancer. I don't know if y'all know who they are, Ty and Charlene Bollinger. They did the documentary, A Truth About Cancer and Truth About Vaccine, which are amazing documentaries, by the way. Amazing. Like the documentary takes 12 days to watch.
Oh,
And yeah.
is it on YouTube?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it's on YouTube. Yeah. I remember like it took me 12 days to get through it. And because I would do like 2 hours at a time, It's such a beautiful documentary. And they're friends with Andrew Wakefield and Ty Bollinger. I mean, Dale Bigtree, Tim Penny, all those, RFK, all those amazing doctors. So, anyways, I was on Instagram and I was following Ty Bollinger and Charlene, and they had a post, and it was, in 2020 during COVID, and it was like a post about children being underground, It had the frog, the Peep the frog that represents Q, and it had a Q post. And I was like, what is this? And as soon as I saw that, it triggered something in me, like a code in me, to just like want to know more. And I had so much guilt, ladies, to want to know more because I kind of felt like I should just be focusing on my life and my babies and my kids and work. And but something in me wanted to know more, wanted to know more. And I kept kind of seeking more, and more was finding me because I wanted to know more. And then I started talking to my sister who used to tell me about all this stuff back in the day, but I didn't believe her. I thought she was crazy. Like, I was like, Ashley, these people are not Baphomets. Like, what are you talking about? Like, she would tell me all this stuff. So I started to seek. And then it was like April of 2020, and I'm driving to work. It's like pouring down rain. I'm driving my dump truck because I do landscape design. And all of a sudden, I started crying. I was like, what is wrong with me? I want to know all this stuff. I can't stop thinking about it. I want to know what we are or who we are. And I had this internal voice in my head, and it said, Rockelle, I want you to know. And I felt a brick come off of my chest and release. And it was like my white light moment. And then I never ever stopped. I was like, okay, here we go. I had confirmation. I didn't even know what it was. I thought it was Jesus at the time talking to me. I had no idea. It's like,
We've lost you.
Oh,
You've got Rockelle.
Lost you, Rockelle.
We'll give her a minute because I'm supposed to come back. It's just a few internet issues, but that's amazing. Like, I think everybody kind of has those moments where they wake. They kind of wake up, don't they? It's like almost like you need a shock to the system.
Yes.
Yeah. Mine was kind of a bit of a. My life's going to kind of go in the toilet, and then it was. I'll be honest, my real like huge wake up moment was when I thought I had COVID and I was going to die, and then like my higher self was just like, "You don't need to do this," and I was really, really poorly. And I was like, I couldn't breathe, and I was in bed, and I was getting oh, there she is.
I'm so sorry. I don't know. Like, right when I was telling y'all that.
Yeah.
Of course.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that, ladies.
It's a bit of tomfoolery now,
okay.
so it's not awful.
It always happens.
You got to the bit where you had this like brick or something like released, like the white light moment. You were like, I thought it was Jesus.
Yeah.
And then you cut off.
It was just a white light moment, and I didn't know, and I thought it was Jesus in my head, but now I know it was me, my internal higher self telling me, no, you need to seek. You got to seek in your lifetime. You can't be naive and ignorant. So, and I just opened up from there, and I have not stopped, and it has been a hell of a journey. The most magical journey I can ever describe. Like, it's just so beautiful. Y'all know, y'all have been on it too, so it's just, I'm so grateful I found y'all.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, the thing is, what I really want to know is, because I this is how I kind of felt, and other people in our group have felt. It was so lonely for so long because it felt like I was alone in all this. There was like, do you know what I mean? Like, there was a couple of people in line, but there wasn't really anybody that had found that I could really talk to about all this stuff, and nobody seemed to really get it. And it was like, it felt really alienating, and it was almost like the Matrix was calling me back and saying, "Come back to sleep. Don't carry on." And then I met all you guys, and it was just like a complete watershed moment, and I felt like, oh, I found my tribe.
Yeah, I feel that too.
Yeah.
Thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
It's true though, isn't it? I mean, it's so hard, I think, when you wake up because you're just. It's like you're desperate and you want to know and you want to figure out what's going on, but it's because you're in this like internal process of like change, aren't you? We're in the like chrysalis, and I know we're always changing, but it's like such a big kind of, I don't know, it's like a landslide moment, isn't it? And it's like all the people that you used to connect to, like people in your relationships, your family, all that kind of stuff, are just so not in alignment with you anymore, and it's really difficult because I mean, I love all these people. I left my husband at the time, and my life fell to pieces. I've left my career, my nursing career. I've had to go on a massive healing journey. I've moved houses, I've let people go, and completely had like a massive tower moment, really.
It's so hard. It's just, yeah, it's, I always say like ascension really is a solo process. I mean, it really is, and it's actually a really hard process. And I feel like some of us go first because it is super, super hard. And we kind of have to be there for them, the ones who choose to come along whenever they do. And, still a lot of them are fighting it. And you can tell they're fighting it because they just have so much like dis-ease happening now, like hitting, falling down, cracking their heads open, or, whatever, falling down and bruising their tailbone, like my friend. Like, it's like, boom, boom, spirits, like, come on, I'm trying to get through to you. When we kind of, when stuff happened with us, we were like listening. We were like, oh, this world really isn't what it is meant to be, like what we've been taught. Like, we really are in a, I like to say the simulation is the matrix, but nature is the base. But the illusion is the simulation, which is the way we've been going about the 9 to 5, the working, the medical, like you pulling out of the medical field, that's huge, because that is the matrix. The big buildings, the food, the driving down the street, the driving cars, the kids going to school, that's the matrix. That's
Yeah.
simulation, that really is. But this back here is base, so the more we pull back in and connect to base, which is nature, which is our paint palette that God created for us, we are changing the timeline for all of them, which is making it a little bit easier for them, I think. I don't know, but I think it is.
What are your thoughts on
I
that,
agree with
Kirsty?
you. I think it is easier because it's like, when you say there's a, well, how geese fly. So they fly in a point, and there's always a goose at the head of the flock.
Yeah, yes.
That's kind of the, so that it's easier for everyone else to fly. Like the windbreaker. And I think that's what the star seeds, or whatever you want to call them, I think that's one of the things we're here to do, is to, so I think that's a really apt thing you said. I think it's absolutely true. And
Yeah.
I was also reminded, Sam, you were talking about the other day, like the organic matrix as opposed to the false matrix. And that reminded me again of the nature thing. And I'm really glad you said that, because I'd like to segue into your thoughts about connecting with nature, Rockelle.
Well, I mean, it really is like my favorite thing, which I didn't know, like, because I'm a horticulturist, so I work with plants. I do design, landscape design, and install. So I'm kind of always digging and planting. I do a lot of container gardening, and so I had no idea. It's a spirit leading me through my life. Um, but now it all makes sense, because as we go through this time, we see what's happening, right? We see the technology, the suppressed technology that's all of a sudden coming out, right? All the AI, which was always here, but the way it's coming out, like the floating, levitating buildings that are coming, the flying cars, all that's coming. I mean, it's in it's part of the, um, what is it? Trump signs, the EOs or whatever, the executive orders, like it's part of that. So we know that that's coming. And as that rolls out, what's really interesting about sci-fi is how it's been put on us through our whole entire life to kind of romanticize and fantasize the whole space world going that way, like going up. But as we go up, we leave here, which here is our base. And if we stay here with our planet, which is our ship, which is part of our body, we recalibrate back to the elements, back to who we are. We activate our gifts, because we really are the spaceship. We don't need to get into a spaceship to go to the planets. Like, we are the spaceship. So as we recalibrate, and the only way you can do that is with nature. I mean, it really comes down to nature. And I know we've known this our whole life, but it's different now. There's like a frequency and a vibration behind it, and it's like, oh, we really are organic. Like when we use things that are outside of ourselves, like even these phones, like we already have the tablets. Like, you know how they show all those ancient texts of the beings that come with the tablets? That's what these are right here. It's something outside of ourselves. And we don't need that. We actually are the tablet. Like we can, you know, we have telepathy, telekinesis, we can teleport, we can bilocate, we can remote view, we can astral travel. You know, we can go anywhere in the world because all the cosmos are in us, like in every tiny little atom, nucleus, cell that we are. But the trick is they are going to want you to go that way to space. Like Star Wars is really real. Like, where did Luke have to go to activate his gifts? He had to go deep into the swamp, into the slush and the slime and the moss. And Yoda had to, who's like a little swamp creature, right? He had to help him activate his gifts with nature. So it's like the force is in us because we are the force. It's like we are the source. They took it, flipped it, they turned it to force, but it's really source. We are source. So there's a huge trick coming on now, and I can see it clear as day. And I think part of my mission is to help remind people that you are the super intelligence, not the super AI. You are the super intelligence, meaning the more base you become, the more natural you become, the more your gifts turn on because you become pure again. But if you go that way and you use all the spaceships and you use all the technology in the med beds, you're going to be using something outside of you, but you are the med bed. And it takes work. You have to reverse your trauma. You have to face your shadows. You have to get real with yourself and with everybody, which, you know, y'all are doing that. Sam, just leaving your job and, you know, whatever happened with your relationship and making changes, like you are going back to base. Like we are going back to base. But there's going to be a lot coming out and you already can see it. And they want people to go that way, up into the stars. But the stars is the trick. I mean, it's just mind blowing.
Yeah, God, you said so much there, Raquel. Like, yeah, and I'm completely with you on a lot of that. Just going back to the organic template thing, it's a process of remembering. I think I always talk about this, and I know people are probably sick to death of me saying it, but it's a process of going within to remember who you actually are, which is a divine God source, creator being. And we're part of this organic template, which is Mother Gaia. She is the natural matrix. We'll call it in the matrix, but it is a simulation. It's a mind simulation.
Yeah.
We're literally filtering down consciousness to have this holographic experience. And the earth is an ensouled being as well, and we resonate with her, and that's the whole point. Our codes match the earth, and when we start to move away from that, like you said, and we're giving away our sovereignty, aren't we? That's the thing. We're outsourcing our sovereignty because it's like saying you can't keep yourself healthy. What you were going back to vaccines. Oh, you can't keep yourself healthy. You need to go to the medical system. You need to listen to a doctor. You need to let them tell you how to be healthy. You need to let them tell you what to eat. You need to, go in a spaceship or whatever because you can't, activate your Merkaba. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. And it's just when you remember who you are, and it is a process. I'm not saying everybody can buy their cake straight away or whatever, but I think with the ascension, that the process that we're undergoing, this is part of the remembering.
Yeah.
So I love what you were saying about like the AI thing, and I think the AI is a tool to show us, who we actually are, what we're capable of without it. It's also like it's part of the split, isn't it? I think the AI bit is like one direction of like the split of New Earth, and the other one is like the organic. Let's all be like one with Gaia. Let's live in trees. I know it's a bit hippie, but yeah, do you know what I mean? We live in alignment with the natural cycles of nature, and I think that's what we're moving back towards.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I go in a massive long tangent, but yeah, go on. Sorry, Kirsten.
So you were talking about the organic matrix and reconnecting with Mother Earth, and I think that's a really nice way to come into my next question, which is about the divine feminine. how do you see the divine feminine, Rockelle? And also, you know, going into that, we obviously need to heal the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So maybe you could talk to all of that. There's a huge
Yeah.
just throw in your lap. Here you go.
I know. Well, I mean, you can tell that the divine feminine has been so attacked. The feminine energy has been so attacked, and the masculine energy both. So it's like fascinating, right? So they create all this sexual, like everything's been sexualized because women represent sex. Like we are sex. Our body is beautiful. We have all the natural curves, just like nature. You know, we produce the baby, we grow it, you know, we bring in a planet basically. And men love us because we are sex. Like we are their other half. And so the way the matrix took our energy and turned it into this like energy leak to capture all the men, but also to capture the women, to actually have us like producing so many babies, right? Because we know what they need. They need us to survive. They need our energy. They need our loosh. So they need us like little rabbits. So, I mean, they took that energy and they just twisted it and turned it and started using it for their advantage. And it's actually brilliant. I'm going to give it to them. It is fascinating what they have done to us. But I think what's happening is because one by one, like the fact that I'm realizing like um, how me like just purifying my essence and my thoughts and just my body and cleansing it, like I'm healing all that, right? I'm not walking around like an energy leak anymore. I don't need that. You know how girls back in the day, you get dressed up to actually, you want to impress the guys or you want to impress the girls too. So it was like a weird coming against each other energy. And all that's going away. So if it's going away from me, that means it's actually healing, right? Like, and if it's going away from you and you, like, we are healing that energy. And then we actually mirror because we're healing all the energies inside of us, like the men start to get naturally healed. I think when the women heal, the men will just start to heal naturally because we're so one and two, but it's just two energies split. But say the men do it, we heal. You know what I mean? Like it works together. So as these men who are stepping into their spirituality and waking up to the illusion that we're in, they're healing, they're facing their traumas because they've been messed. I mean, circumcision is a huge, huge, huge problem on this planet that captures men at like day one of birth. Okay, to be circumcised and to go through that trauma is horrible. You set your whole life thinking that you're not perfect. Like my mom had me circumcised. Like I'm not perfect. Like and then women were tricked to do that to their babies. Like I'm one of them, and I have to live with that and forgive myself. And that's huge. And but even that to be set up with you're not perfect. You have to have your penis cut. I mean, come on. It's so effed up. So, they start their day one of birth, not all, that doesn't happen to everybody, but most of them, and then they're captured with that and then that trauma that is bestowed on them. So the healing is just so important, and I think that's why we get shadow banned, the ones who talk about this stuff, about reversing our trauma and going within and actually pulling out those dark nights of the soul and walking through them. But actually, if you have a woman to walk through it with or a man to walk through it with which doesn't happen very often, but when those two people, like I always say, like every neo needs a trinity because we go together. So, but we kind of had to like heal those pieces of us to be able to mirror a man like that. So it's huge. Like these two energies, just because we think they're one and they think that it's another, like they really are the same energy. And we don't really need to even divide it. Like we just let it be energy. It's God experiencing what it wants to experience. So once we flip the switch in our mind, there's no going back. I mean, that's how I feel.
Hey, that's really interesting.
It's brilliant because they have split us at the very core of what makes us human by creating this false war between male and female. So they've attacked us at the very center, and but it's so beautiful because we are healing it and we can heal it. I'm sorry, Sam. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, it's all right, my love. Well, there's plenty of time for us all to talk. Yeah, there is. There's loads of time, isn't there? No, I was just going to say the same sort of thing, really, about more about the healing and how we heal in tandem. Do you think that it's because the male is a reflection of the female, and together we make like a whole unit? Is that why you think when one heals, the other like naturally is dragged along? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's almost like a dragon. If the head of the dragon and the tail of the dragon, something's wrong with one, and this part heals, this part heals. Like it's all one because we have both energies in us, and that's why they've capitalized on that and twisted that and turned it and did the whole LGBTQ and all that. It's because both energies really do exist in you. So yeah, yep.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing as well. Like, if you're when you talk about kind of like the satanic movement, and they want to turn people, they want to invert them, don't they? And that's the big betrayal of who you are. Because I mean, if you're born a woman or a man, you are actually born a woman or a man. Even though it's completely different, the energies that you've got inside you, that's different to how you actually are physically. And I think that's another way that they kind of disconnect us from source energy, because when you go through something like that, it's like a really big trauma, isn't it? And going back to like the circumcision thing, obviously segueing into trauma, it's so insidious because they, like you said, they literally get you at birth. And they used to, I've not had any boys, so I wouldn't know. But they said that basically when they used to do that anaesthetic, because they said, oh, they can't feel it. And it's like, well, I'm pretty sure they can. Do you know what I mean? So even that is like actual
They can.
torture.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they can, and it's on purpose. They want them to feel it, unfortunately. Hmm.
And that's like a
Yes,
huge big
that's right. Well,
it, um,
It's huge.
this whole matrix is based on trauma. Trauma is really what keeps us all in this matrix, because it's what keeps us in the box, all those traumas. And so that's just the nature of, I mean, that's what they do in every way, everything. I mean, when you think about it, it's like all set up to give you trauma after trauma, and then to reignite those old traumas as well, so that you're always in a state of fear and anxiety, and maybe you're not even aware of it because it's your normal.
I
you
think it
know
becomes a state of fawn. Like, 'cause I was learning a little bit about like state of fawn, and fawn is even past fear and anxiety and uncertainty and doubt. Fawn is like you actually numb out. You become an NPC, which is what most people are. They just think that this is real. They think this is so real. Driving down the road, seeing a Burger King sign and a Chick-fil-A sign and a Publix sign and a movie theater sign, like that's real to them. I mean, they really believe that that's what we want to do as humans.
and that's the
Yeah.
disconnection,
I
isn't it? Yeah, back from nature again. And also, um, it's a way to put you in boxes, because when you're traumatized, that's what you seek, isn't it? You numb out because you don't want to face the trauma because it's too painful. And it's the same thing with like the smartphones, and kids nowadays, they're all they want to bother about is technology. They don't go out anymore and play. I feel like they're not making those real human connections, which are so important. And it's almost like they're not developing. They don't want their brains to develop properly because they want to control them in this simulation.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah, they want their brain to be boxed in, like you said. So all that gray matter, they're not pushing into all that, which is space, right? It's the cosmos, it's the Kasha records, it's the knowingness, it's the all. But when you keep them in here, they're in here. And I was in there for a long time. And I know because I was just do work and do what you're supposed to do, get married, have a family, do. Don't question anything, and I was in that box. And now I'm not. Now I'm like, oh, I'm like, give me everything, I didn't know anything. So give me it all. I'm open to it. I'm gonna open the box up, right? Open Pandora's box.
Yes.
Yeah, play it
I
all
love
out.
that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And that's it. Go on, sorry.
a lot of people say, oh, it's so painful to wake up. To me, it was such a relief, because I thought there was something wrong with me? And then I was like, oh, no, it's not me. I'm
No,
good.
you're all good.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Fun. No, I was just I agree. Is it when I left my partner, I think life had got so difficult because I was going through this dark night of the soul, and it became it became so uncomfortable. That when I kind of I left and when I could just sit, it was like I could breathe. You know, it was like, oh my god, I can breathe, and it's like that's the beginning, isn't it? When you're like, oh, I could do anything. Like, that's like it's like, oh, I could do anything. Like
Yeah.
I'm not in the books. Like the world's my oyster. You know, and your mind is completely blown. Like it's like I don't know if you felt the same. It's like I need to know everything. And I got a little bit overwhelmed. Like, oh, you know, I was reading a little Dolores Cannon when I first woke up, and I was like, oh, you know, and it's really strange because I was thinking about this earlier. Like, if somebody to come up to me and said, oh yeah, you know, I've seen a spaceship, I'd have been like, oh, it's a bit silly. But then when I look at that when I was a kid, I was obsessed. We used to watch this program called Strange But True, and it was about like poltergeist activity, alien abduction, all sorts of time travel. There was this magazine that came out that I was obsessed about. And it had these stories about like time slips and people going back and seeing all these people in old clothes, and do you know what I mean? And I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
fascinated,
Yep.
fascinated. But then when I got older, it's like that part of my brain had been shut down. I think that's what they do when you go like it's like you're numbed out by life almost. Do you not think?
Yeah. Well, and a lot of that stuff is designed to fantasize all that, right? They want us thinking that we're supposed to get in the spaceships and the time capsules and go to another planet. But no, you're going to be surveillance. You're going to have AI over you. It's just like this golden dome that's coming. You know, there's two timelines coming, like the golden dome, and everything's going to be watched, and it's going to be amazing for people. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be like levitating buildings and robots, and you know, you will have more time to do whatever you want. But the other timeline that's coming is going back to nature and getting away from the government and, you know, connecting and having horses. But, you know, it's not like how they make it out to be like it's going to be so much work. It's not going to be a lot of work because we even lied to about that. We don't even need all this food. We don't need to have giant farms. We just need a little bit to produce because we don't need all this food. We don't need, we've been lied to about all that. So, you know, they put that thought in your head like, oh, farming and how hard it is, but you're not even really supposed to farm. This farming, the reason why the crops get wiped out and destroyed by beetles and botrytis and blight and whatever fungus is because it's the motherland telling you to stop doing this. You're not supposed to plow my ground like this and mass produce. You're just not supposed to do it. It's her telling you to stop. We just need a little bit of berries and pollen, and you know, you can get milk from, you know, goats or, you know, cows or even trees. You know, nuts give you milk. You know, we could forage. We just don't need all this. That's a huge psyop. And so they created this whole psyop about farming, how it's going to be so much work, but it's not. It's not going to be that much work. And as we recalibrate, we activate our gifts, and our air purifies, which feeds us. The sun feeds us. You know, we need a little bit here and there. Clean water, because we're helping, you know, recalibrate the planet so our water becomes clean again. She heals because we're healing, and we live in harmony. Like there is, and then our gifts, the gifts just keep turning on. And then I could be sitting here and pop over there. We all are. I can take my body, but I have to keep, you know, doing my work. I got to heal. I got to remove the programming that's in me, the black goo.
Yeah. Can you tell me a bit more about what your thoughts on the black goo are?
Well, the black goo is just all the mind programming in a nano. So all the poisoning that's been happening to us, like the fluoride, the aluminum, the mercury, the however you say it, the bromine, all that stuff that they've been like putting in our foods and in the air and in the water and in our vaccines and our everything. It's nano. There's nano in the body, and the nano is what connects to the Borg, and that's why they're learning from us right now. That's why when you and I talk about this, you'll see it. you'll see them talking about it, or you might see Joe Rogan talking about it tomorrow, because they are learning from us how
Yeah.
to control us. So, and as we purge, right? As we purge all this out, it goes away. Like, we get rid of the parasites, which are the nano, the bots, and it keeps coming out. And then all that starts to get removed off of our DNA, off the cellulars, off the nuclears, off the atoms. And then we start becoming base again, which is crystalline, which is, the Christos, the Christ, which is within us, which is what we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
really
the
So beautifully.
black goo takes over planets. Like, it's happened. There's tons of planets that it's taken over. And a lot of the beings that, we know about have been taken over by the black goo. That's why a lot of the super soldiers, when they do these programs, they're like up with other beings, like Palladians and stuff. And they're like, the Palladians are like, they can't believe that I can play music. And they want, because the person's a human, please play music for us. But it's because those beings have been taken over by the black goo. A lot of their essence has been removed from them. So what's so important about Earth is, I believe that as we clean and clear ourselves, all the other beings get cleared and cleaned too. Like, we'll have this Phoenix moment that's coming, and it's like the end of the Kali Yuga. It comes like every 25,000 years, and it's a big one. But when this big one comes, which they all know about, it resets the whole entire cosmos. So I
What
think that's where we're building up to.
What do you mean, the big one? Can you elaborate?
So based on the information that I've received, and I want to be careful about talking about this because I don't know fully. I'm just still learning about it or remembering. We have resets, right? We got proof. We have proof in our like in our history with our buildings that they've had resets. We, like Tartaria, the orphan trains, and how certain parts of the planet have been reset, small ones. But at the end of the Kali Yuga, the way the mathematics, like the way God source creation works, the divine energy, when the whole cloning thing starts to happen, that's like kind of going against the natural, like what source really is. And when you start cloning and tweaking and eating source, like source is eating source, you kind of have to like reset it. Like, you have to like almost have that solar flash, that twinkle in the eye, that moment, right? That Phoenix moment that just kind of wipes everything out and restarts. And based on what I know, we are up for the big one, and the big one's coming like 2042 is supposedly the year, which could change because you know how time is and dates and all that. And they know that. Like, even the Q plan, the nothing that can stop what's coming, like, the end is not for everybody. Like, that is part of this big biblical moment that's coming, and they know that. And see, they know that, right? So what they like to do is get us all like living all techno, but they don't care. And they go underground and they try to escape it. But we embrace it because it's that white light moment. We don't care. There's no fear. We're not afraid of death. They are. We're not, because death is not real. It's an illusion. You just move on after that. But they want to escape it. And that's where the whole bloodline family comes from, the whole Illuminati, all that comes from them trying to escape death.
Yeah.
It's deep. It's like a deep subject. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think
And
it is a death thing.
we don't even need to worry about it, because the more pure we become, it doesn't matter. We're untouchable. We're untouchable.
And that's the thing, I think. When you realise that death's an illusion, they kind of lose complete control, because that's like the ultimate control tool, isn't it?
That's
Really?
the control of the whole matrix. Yes. Yep.
Have you got anything to say on that, Kirsten?
I don't. I mean, I probably do, but it's very. I'm savoring it right now and considering. So.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's so like, it's been
Yeah.
like in everything, right? We see it in all the movies. We see it like, but do we, right? Like, they hide a lot from us too, because they know it's coming. But we know too, like, just having this conversation, like, we know something's happening, right? We're like, okay, that's why I want to go sun gaze and get out of my job that's 9 to 5, a freaking matrix, loose harvesting, whatever. I want to make changes. Like, we feel it on the inside. It's like the phoenix on the inside feels it. And we're the ones that trigger it. So we're the unknown variable. That's the cool part.
Yeah, we're like the wild
unknown
card.
variable.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, what are they going to do?
So,
Yeah.
Rockelle, what are some of the practices that, like, to get into this vibrational frequency? What are some of the things that you do? Just practical stuff that you can suggest for people if they're saying, well, how do I connect with this? How do I connect with nature? How do I do this?
Well, first is just there has to be something that brings you peace that's outside of the technology and whatever that is, but it has to be for you, like solo, it has to be of course we can go hang out with our friends and our family and our children, and that feeds our spirit, but there has to be something that you can do solo, because just that time alone is so important, right? So, for me, it's like getting up early and sun gazing when the sun comes up, or later in the day when the sun's going down. I started with that. That was like my first thing that I heard about, and I was like, huh, I'm gonna try that. And I like walked out here in my yard, and I like was walking over there, and an acorn fell out of the tree. I think I told you this, and hit me right here on top of my head, like boom, bounced off. And at the time, I was like, oh my God, is that a sign not to do this, or is it a sign to do it? And I was like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take it as nature saying, do it, And now I know that nature was like, thank you, Rockelle. Connecting with the water, swimming. A lot of people use water because, water is a living spirit. So a lot of people love to swim. Anything that has to do with outside in nature. And I know it's hard because some people don't live by nature, and there's mosquitoes and there's bugs, and there's so much programming to make us scared of stuff too on top of that. So that's the trauma, right? If you can just find one friend and just talk to about your fears, your uncertainties, your doubts, like, I don't feel worthy. I haven't been abandoned as a child. I was hurt as a child, whatever it was. And it could be really bad stuff. Like, we've all been hurt and tortured and targeted. But the more you talk about it and get it out, and even if it's talking to a tree, okay, or the wind, whatever it is, you release it. So it's like a release. And as you do that, you just every day do a little bit and a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, and then you start to notice a year has gone by, and now you're this whole other person that you can actually hear. Like the voices are not taken over anymore, and you can actually meditate. You can actually clear how the thoughts would come in the beginning, right, and take you. So you try to meditate, just get quiet, but a thought would come in, or this or that. But as you work at it, it really starts to go away. You unplug from the hive mind. But it takes time, and you have to allow yourself to take the time. It's not going to happen overnight. You have to allow yourself to do that, to take the time to even go sit in a closet if you have to. Like, say you live in an apartment and you don't have an outside space. Just go sit in the closet and just quiet yourself, whatever it takes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And you'll notice that you'll start getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And then your knowingness will start to come in. It'll start to cut. You'll just know things, your intuition. You'll be like, I knew there was a bicycler behind me while I was backing up. Like, my spirit told me. I mean, it's real. It's not fake. Like, you are so magical. And I want people to know that, like, you're so magical, and you have to just take the time for yourself. And that's what heals you. Like, oh, I'm not going to go fold the laundry. I'm going to sit here on the couch and have some time for myself. And that's okay. No more guilt, letting it go. You know what I mean? Just slow down. I always say go slow to go fast. I mean, it's so easy. It's hard, ladies.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. It's because we're taught we have to push. Do, produce.
Plan.
It's really hard. Yeah. And it's really hard to just take a step back from it and say, okay, I'm just going to sit still for a few minutes.
Yeah.
It's that guilt, isn't
And it
it,
is
as well?
that.
It's like, yeah,
It's the guilt. That program is a strong, icky, black goo one that's embedded in us from, like day one of birth. So,
yeah,
and I mean, that's letting go. Guilt's not even a real thing. It's not even real. You can't see it on a piece of paper. You can't see it. It doesn't manifest in front of you. It's not real. It's just a mind
yeah.
program.
And
But they make you feel like
it
if you're not productive and you're not, it's like they make you feel like your worth is based on what you're doing.
Hmm.
And that's how they kind of subvert your relationships as well, because it's like, oh, you're only as useful, you're only as worthy of love as how useful you are, basically. And it starts with the self. It's like you need to learn to love yourself for just exactly who you are, and part of that is being still and quiet, like you said, being able to observe your true nature. You don't have to constantly be go 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 go. You don't
Hmm.
have to be an astronaut or whatever, uh a
No.
philosopher, whatever. They make you feel that you've got to fit in these boxes to be worthy of love, or to be worthy of anything, really. And this is kind of how they erode people's self-worth, and how they make people kind of slaves to the matrix in another way. It's like the beauty industry, isn't it? They make you like say, oh, well, you're not worthy if you don't look like this, if everybody doesn't look like a Kardashian, or if you're not cloned, or if you're overweight or whatever. It's like, oh, people's actual worth isn't based on what their external appearance is. It isn't based on what they do. Love is, I mean, in my own opinion, love isn't performative, and that's like one of the biggest lies that's pushed on us, and one of the biggest divisions that's put against men and women, divine masculine, divine feminine, because it's like they're constantly in competition. Then they need to feel like they're constantly proving their worth, and it's like when people go, oh, she's a 10 or he's an 8 or whatever. It's like, no, that's absolute bollocks. What you need to be looking for is alignment, not how much he's paid, not how, what he does, not how nice his teeth is. It's like, are you in alignment with that person? Is that person touching your soul? Do you feel a connection with them? Are you moving in the same direction? Will you support each other? And I think the big thing is, we're also told in the spiritual community that we've got to be completely healed to meet somebody, which is bollocks as well. It's all these lies and all this propaganda, and it's all that kind of to muddy the water. If you meet somebody, they end up being your biggest mirror, and if you can find somebody that's going to support that, I think that's the true key to finding, balance, really, and healing that masculine and feminine energy. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree. Yeah. I mean, just going back to like the falseness of the reality for women, like you brought up the Kardashians, like, I mean, it has to be like a really hard lesson that the Kardashians lost, right? All three of them, all four of them, they lost all their weight, right? And they just pretended like they were working out and eating salads every day. And I remember because I watched them for a little bit, but they were on Ozempic the whole fucking time. And now
Oh,
that's come
really?
out. Yes, all these Hollywood people, Oprah, all of them, back 10 years ago when they were looking good in the prime before COVID and all that, they were all on Ozempic. And guess what? All these women were tricked. They all were like, you know, thinking that that was real. It wasn't real. They were fucking on Ozempic. They were taking a shot that made them skinny. And it was like, it never made sense to me. I was like, there's no way Khloe Kardashian, who's a big woman with big bones, is that skinny. There's no way. There's no way. I work out. I eat healthy. I'm a small woman. I know what it takes. Like, there's no fucking way. And now it's like all out. All those people were on Ozempic the whole entire time. And now everybody's on Ozempic. I have friends. Like, I know people that are on it. Like, so it was just a huge fucking lie. Okay. It was a lie, and it was a way to get women to hate themselves. And it's so horrible. And the fact that those people are still on TV, if it's even real, I don't know. It's horrible. It's horrible. And I would love for women to realize that and just take tomatoes and throw them at them. You know what I mean? Actually, don't even throw
Yeah.
tomatoes at them
Yeah,
because I
I'd
love
fucking throw
tomatoes.
her like, no, boo, of a tomato, absolutely.
Yeah.
Fucking look on.
To do that to people, it's sick.
Because, yeah, throw tomatoes. Because I just made a post today on the Twits about how a lot of the women that were presented to me when I was a child as, this is the ideal beauty, this is what you need to look like, were actually dudes.
I know, it's not even real. Victoria's
Yeah.
Secret. What's the secret? They're all like men or inverted or whatever, you know?
Yeah, we were talking about this last night, weren't we, Kirsten? We were saying somebody on X showed a picture of this movie, and there was like a still of Daryl Hannah, and my God, she's a man. It's
Hmm.
like, oh my God, Daryl
Yeah.
Hannah's a man. And I used to be one of those people, because people are like, this person's a man, and this person's a man, and this person's not really a woman, and this person's not really a man, and whatever. And I'd be like, oh God, not everybody can be men. I think they're taking the piss. And I really think, actually, when I look at people now, I'm like, are you a man or are you a woman? And it sounds really
Oh,
horrible. And I suppose
yeah.
people could probably come in here and go, oh, is Sam what? Is Sam really a man or is she a woman? And I say, but that's another thing. It makes you completely question your reality, doesn't it? Like, you don't know what's up and what's down. That's another thing as well.
Yeah, well, it's good. It makes you
Yeah.
question that reality. Like, we know that that reality is all fake. Like, it's all fake and it's all faux. And, and it's like a lot of those beings, too, are tweaked in the uterus. So, there's a little tweaking going on in the uterus when they're forming. So, it does create like almost like the bafflements. Like, it's not necessarily they're born with it and change. They actually are both of it. And
Oh,
that's manipulating God's creation, creator's creation, and that's you just can't do that. Um it's not good. Test tube babies basically. Hmm.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good, Kirsten. Sorry.
No, I was just saying that's really interesting. Did
Mm.
not know that.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true, and this is just speculation, but I heard the same thing about Taylor Swift, and I was like, oh. But then you look at the shape, and the other thing is, you're looking at these women, and men are inherently, they've got really long legs and no hips. And it's like we're showing these Victoria's Secret models, and, they are men. It's like,
Yeah.
this is we're told this is what we're meant to aspire to. And there's women getting anorexia. You look at people like, oh, what's she called? The really, Ariana Grande is the big one,
Oh
isn't she?
yeah.
In there. He looks really, really poorly, and it's like they're pushing this idea on people that they need to look this certain way, and it's making them ill. I mean, and it's not
Yeah.
new. It's as old as the hills, isn't it? You look at things like Karen Carpenter. Back in the day, she died, bless her. So be more her heart, of anorexia, and it's like it's a mind virus almost. That's what they're doing.
Oh yeah, and to make men, like real men, like our men, lust after men.
Men,
Yeah. I mean, it's that energy and and then hitting the chakras, the sacred chakra, and like what it does and how they feed off of that, and just um it plays into the whole sexualizing everything. But they really do get off on our men thinking that these are women and fantasizing and lusting after them, and it's not good. That keeps them trapped. It keeps our men trapped in those lower chakras, and when you're
yeah,
trapped down there, that's like you're drained. You're basically like you're no good. Like, you got to move it up. You got to move it up into the heart. We need our men in their heart center. We need them up here in their crown, not really in their mind, but like in the heart, and up here, and then they recalibrate and they heal. But they
yeah,
knew. I think that we are just so pure and naive. Like, we're pure, so we're naive, right? We just want to have fun and play, and it's like Adam and Eve in the garden. They tinkered around and they loved each other, and they probably had a lot of sex, and they created, and that's really what we are. We just love each other. We're love. We're like, the man is the most powerful thing in the universe. Our thoughts can wipe out anything. Our thoughts can wipe out any machine, any technology, any being, any monster, anything that tries to come up against us. And they know that. And that's why they got to keep us under control, because we can wipe out a whole species of beings by just our thoughts.
yeah. Because we creative beings, aren't we, essentially? But like, going back to this sexualization thing, I think you really hit the nail on the head, and it's like the inversion of that as well. And when you traumatize people, especially from like a young age, because there's a lot of like sexual trauma and things that happen, and I think that's perpetuated and done on purpose as well, because it causes this kind of like soul loss and keeps again in those chakras. But when you're unhealed and all you're wanting to do is lust after somebody and you're following that kind of program of like, oh, I just want a woman who looks like this, and I need like instant gratification, and it's actually taking away from the divine nature of what sex is. And yeah, absolutely, about humans, we creative beings, and it is about fun and connection. And this is one of the inversions over like sexual relationships. People think that sex is really bad or it's dirty, and there's this dogma that's pushed, and it's absolute bollocks. Obviously, it all comes down to intention. But if you're in your heart and you're connecting with somebody and your heart aligned, then it's the most beautiful thing in the world. It's absolutely amazing. It's pure creation.
It really is. It's such a gift, right? To be able to split the two energies and then experience that from each other. I always think about how, like, I love this story, and I'm gonna tell y'all, it's so cute. So, like, Adam's in the garden, and he's just doing naming all the plants, and the trees, and the insects and the animals, and he's like, "Oh man, I just wish I had another man here, or a person, or whatever." And then he wakes up the next morning and he hears something in the bushes, and he sees it, and he goes, "Whoa, man! Woman, whoa, man!" Like, he was just like, "Whoa, man! Woo, you're beautiful." I love that. It just is like so whole. I'm like, I love that so much. And it's like, okay, we are really harmonized together. We really are. We really do love each other. We complement each other. We come together and we create more planets, right? We create babies, which are planets. And it's just the most beautiful thing. And what happens is, when people go to the stars and they use technology to go to the stars, you only rely on the technology. So the technology takes over, and then you can't even procreate. Like, you become like the Greys and those beings that to have a baby, they have to use AI. They don't even get to come together like we do and have that magic spark. They have to like sit here and for like 3 years, like, manifest a baby by thinking about it, but they never get to come together and have that experience. So they actually envy us and they hate us too, because they can't do that. But they can always go back to source and start over as man again, and do it all over again. But the fear, right? The ego, fear wants to take over. So I don't know. I'm just more embracing man these days, like what we are. Because I kind of was in the whole stage with the cosmos and wanting to go and leave the planet for a long time. And then I was like, that's like hurting me. Why am I thinking that way? Like, everything around me is so beautiful, and this water and the wind and the birds are getting closer. Like, every day, the squirrels are getting a little bit closer to me. So I'm like, okay, there's something, and then things have been just clicking in my brain and my heart. So what I'm realizing and what's finding me, I'm like, okay, yeah, it really is about us and our planet. And we could take our planet closer to other planets, like move this whole entire planet with our thoughts. Like, we don't need to get in a spaceship, or we can bilocate. I mean, we could do whatever. So I'm just going to keep embracing that, because it feeds my spirit. It keeps me giving me power instead of giving a med bed power, or giving a spaceship power, or whatever the hell, some kind of device that you walk through that teleports you. I know we can do it.
Yeah, you're manifesting your own good power, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Go on, Kirsten, what were you going to say?
I just said yay, because I love it. I love that you're manifesting your goddess power. I think we all are. So I kind of like to segue into, speaking of manifesting our goddess power. Rockelle, what are your thoughts on how we create a reality that is more conducive to the way that real humans live? Can you think of, just things that you're doing in your reality that are shifting things?
Yeah, I mean, I've been using the word base, just getting back to base. And that includes like removing a lot of timelines from my reality. So, like, not taking on more payments, more car payments, more, just whatever costs money, like a new refrigerator that I might have to pay off, just kind of like avoiding all those situations where I'm because every payment you take on is another timeline. right? And it pulls you outside of yourself, and then you got to worry about paying that every month. So just kind of pulling all my timelines back into me, and not making plans. Like I try not, obviously I have to plan for my work, for, my gardening business. But even with that, I've been, over the years, I used to always try to line up work, like have work for next month and, every week of the month. But I'm starting to live like by the seat of my, what's that saying? By the seat of my pants, or pants of my, whatever that saying is. Like fly by the seat of your pants. Yeah. Which is really hard to do when you have a mortgage and you have kids and, and you are a family. But I was like, I can't be thinking so far in the future because it's taking me out of the now moment. And I know I can trust in the universe, in myself, in the creator, that the next job is going to show up. I might even get this close where I have no money in my bank account, but I know that it's going to show up and I'm going to be okay again and I'm going to be able to pay the bills. And so just trusting in myself. But those programs, want to come in to make me not think it's going to, the dark thoughts, like you're going to be living on the street, you're going to lose this, and stopping myself and recognizing that that's an outside source saying that to me. Like it's not even me, it's old programming.
Yeah.
So really observing my own thoughts. Like if you, as a man or a woman, if you can start observing the thoughts when they come in and knowing and recognizing that they're not yours, like they absolutely are not yours. Like, why would I torture myself? Like, why? Like, I'm like a, spiritual being having a human experience. Why am I going to torture myself with unpleasant thoughts about money? So just recognizing it and just trusting in myself that it's going to show up. It's going to be okay. And everything is okay always. It's just the thoughts that want to take me out of the now. And breathing, like taking a breath puts me back in the now. And what I realize is what happens when you're in that state of fawn, when you're walking around with all that trauma, you don't breathe. You can walk your whole day and not breathe one time. And that's like fascinating. So just bringing back my awareness, because the breath is what puts you back in the now moment. So I've been using that and that's a tool. That's a tool. It's right here. It's right here on my face. It's my nose. So you don't need to spend all this money. You don't need to go get a guru. You have all the tools right here. So just kind of embracing that and just base. Base is like getting back to base, not making plans, slowing down, breathing, pulling all my timelines back in. And that really does mean like I don't hang out with people. Like I barely hang out with anybody except for my kids, my family right here. Because all my friends they're just not getting it yet. So I don't hang out with them. Every once in a while I'll get together, but I don't do it anymore. And I'm okay not doing it. I don't have any FOMO at all. I'm okay just sitting right here doing a podcast.
I mean, it's great that because you've got so much to say and share, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love doing this. This is like so fun because this is like feeds my spirit. Like talking to y'all and learning things and sharing, because just one person can see our show and get inspired, and then they change so many people in their area.
Yeah, it's putting that frequency out, isn't it? And that's the reason I think why we wanted to do this. Really, was just, I think, to hear other people's stories and to give them a chance as well, just to kind of connect and also just to share. Because I mean, the Great Awakening didn't just stop in 2020. It's still ongoing. We're going through all these big shifts now, and there's people that are kind of coming online, and they're where we were, back in 2020 or 2019 or wherever. They're finding themselves in this situation now, and probably worse because they might have been vaccinated, they might have, done all this stuff that they're really not happy about. They've got to live that consequence, and they're probably looking for guidance and a bit of a light in the dark. And that was kind of what I was told. Like, we're now the lighthouses for other people. We're the guiding light. We're not gurus, we're not teachers, we're not going to tell anybody anything, but we're just sharing our story, we're sharing our frequency, and in doing that, that's going to help people find where they need to be and give them that upliftment and that hope. And I think that's what people really need right now.
Oh, I agree. I think that people sharing their stories, because people, you know, they love to talk about themselves. So it helps them be able to grow and learn and just share. And it helps the throat chakra, right? Because a lot of our throat chakras were so, you know, like we grow up. Oh, don't say that. Don't shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Like, you should never ever say that to a kid, ever,
Yeah.
ever, ever, ever. That's like the worst thing you could ever say to anybody. And a lot of us were told that as kids. Like, we grew up like shutting our mouth because our parents didn't want to deal with us, because our parents were traumatized as well. So it's not like we can even, you know, get too upset, because they were, I mean, all humanity. You have to have compassion and grace, because we've all been effed with for so long. And
Yeah.
but now we're kind of like flipping back. We're going back to base. We're going backwards. So it's really
Yeah.
cool. Hmm.
I want to talk about that throat chakra thing actually, because you're so right about that. And that's what they do. They shut you down, and your throat chakra is actually connected to your sacral chakra, and it's a portal. It's where we birth into reality. And when you start to censor and shut yourself down, it's like you're stopping your ability to create and be in the now. Because I think that all kind of like ties into how we're created beings, and a little bit like circling back to what you're on about the abundance and trusting about we're gonna, you know, what's gonna come in is gonna come in. And when we're able to speak our truth and share that frequency, that's as almost putting things in, and we become more magnetic. Basically, when you can speak your truth, you're magnetic, and you magnetize other things that are aligned with your truth. But when you're shut down and you can't speak your truth, it's like you're living a lie. And the experience that you're having then is giving you disease, isn't it? Right? Because you're uncomfortable. You're not living in your true alignment, basically.
I know. And I always think about all of us as little kids and how that was done to us. And now it's like with our
Yeah.
kids, you know, it's like, okay, I tell my children, I'm like, y'all know everything. You know everything, and it's all in you. Like, all the cosmos and all the energy and all of the universe is in your body. So you know everything. You don't even really need to use these tablets to go find it, but you have to know how to sit with yourself to get the information. And, you know, because my kids now are 12 and 10. So I'm having to like work with them, and they kind of are like, Mom, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but then they get it because I see things happen. Like, my son wanted a guitar. And I was like, well, the next time I have some extra money, I'll get you a guitar, but that might be a little while. The next day, there was a guitar on the side of the road on top of a trash pile, brand new.
Wow.
Even had a pick in the little strings. He
That's
manifested that
amazing.
fast. Yes, and he knew. He was like, "Oh, I did this, Mom." And I'm like, "You did this." Like that.
Yeah. And they're so tapped in as well, so they can literally just manifest like that, you know. And that's the thing; it's empowering them. My kids are 12 and 10 as well. Funnily enough,
Oh, I love that.
yeah. Um, she got. I mean, my kids go to school. I wish they didn't, but it was just kind of one of the things of the Matrix. This is kind of how it's played out. But she got a school report from a teacher, and the teacher was just like basically saying that she was one of the most like insightful and self-aware children that she'd ever met. But that's through like really careful cultivation, you know. And that,
Hmm.
I mean, it's the introspection element, isn't it? And it's like saying, look, it's all right to feel your feelings. It's all right to understand them, and I think it's making them feel safe to do that. Because like we
Hmm.
were going back to before, we're told to shut up, aren't we? We're told not to upset the apple cart. We're told to basically value other people's peace and what they want above what we need, which is to speak our truth, to feel our emotions, to cry, to, you know, to express ourselves. And I think it's all part of the shutting down process.
Oh, yeah. And so, you know, my kids are in school too. Like, so I'm still, you know, in it also. Like, even though we're not in public school, we're in a small little private school. It's still school. It doesn't matter. It's still school.
Yeah.
And I have to correct a lot of stuff when they come home. Like, for instance, my son, he has to read the book Where the Red Fern Grows. I don't know if y'all remember that book. But that book is a really traumatizing book. Okay. It's a great story, but it's traumatizing. It's so sad. And now we know how the system works, and it loves to traumatize us as we're children, you know, because we hear things, see things, and it sits with us our whole entire life. And you know, I want to like actually say something. And I think I will. I will, because it's a little Christian school, and I'm going to bring it up because somebody needs to say it.
Yeah.
And like, why traumatize? That traumatized me as a child. You know, when the dog gets killed by the mountain lion, and it sat with me my whole entire life. So that's why when I was like, oh my God, he has to read this book, like what? But it's part of the program, and they even have it in the little Christian private school. I mean, it's so deep, this program, and they know there's mathematical equations that they use on our psyche, and they know what gets to us. And I have to be the one to say, okay, guys, this is kind of effed up. My kids don't really need to be, you know, yes, we're learning about death, but what that does, like, it's not really teaching what death is. Death is you don't die, you live on, you honor the body, you celebrate. You don't mourn and, you know, turn into, oh, they're dead. Because when you say they're dead, they actually stay dead, because you're creating your words, and your thoughts create reality, and
Yeah.
everything's a fractal of you. So if you think this person's dead and you keep saying they're dead, you're keeping them dead. They can't even reincarnate. They're like trapped in time. And that's where ghosts come in. That's how ghosts become ghosts. They get trapped in time. So we have to honor, you know, the dead. We have to celebrate it. We have to like let, you know, almost create like a I would say like a dance in honor of them. You know, like we got to celebrate them so they can actually have good thoughts and create and come back, or, you know, go somewhere else, or, you know, wherever they want to go. So I think I have to say something, but you know, it's a hard spot to be in, especially when it comes to Christianity.
Yeah, I think you're in a really difficult position. It's kind of trying to aim it in a way that they can accept it, I think. You
Yeah, I
know.
have to be very, very careful about my delivery. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like kind of working within the parameters that have been set so they can get it, because it's almost like breadcrumbing them. But I mean, going back to the trauma thing as kids, I mean, you look at every Disney princess film or every Disney film, there's always a parent that dies. It's like, and they're
Always.
putting that fear of death and that fear of abandonment as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's being sewn into your psyche as a child.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's everything. Everything to do with the Matrix. Like they want you to fear death. Like you said, Kristen. Like it's the ultimate power. It's their stronghold that they use over us. And guess what? Death is not even real. You don't die. You just carry on, and you get to go do something else. And yeah, like let it. I think that ascension is really like what I've realized, the most powerful thing about my awakening is letting go of the fear of death. Out of everything, that is the strongest, most beautiful thing, because it takes away fear. You know what I mean? Like it takes away any kind of like, and I still have fear. Like sometimes I, you know, get triggered when I'm driving, or, you know, I might be walking in my house and there's a giant spider that's about to jump on me, and I'm like, ah, but that's still my nervous system. My nervous system is not healed. Like I still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
That's that programming to like make me fight or flight. It wants to always put me in that fight or flight, especially when I'm driving, and I hate that. So I'm working on that. Actually, I don't want to say I hate it. Like I'm aware of it now. So it's just part of my healing.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is. I want to go back to the nervous system, because you made such a good point there, and that's part of the healing, isn't it? When you can calm your nervous system down, it takes you out of that reactive mind space, because that's what they want you to do, and that's what a lot of trauma, that's what a lot of that illness and like mental health problems are. It's this really primed, overstimulated nervous system, because it has an impact physically on the rest of the body. Basically you're flooded like cortisol, aren't you? And it basically it f's you up, really. So when you start to heal the nervous system, you start to get back into the body, and you're able to, like you said, be in that neutral mind, be in that now space, and you can act rather than react, which is taking your power back, isn't it?
Yes, I love that. Act instead of react. Yep. And observe, right? Become the observer. Don't absorb. I still absorb a lot. So I'm an empath like everybody else, like y'all. So working through that and like finding the right tools to like handle when these situations come up. But it's like you have to kind of like you just have to go through it. Like you have to allow the time to be like, okay, now I'm gonna, I'm not gonna rush, okay? Because we're not supposed to travel like this. We know that these are death metal boxes, unfortunately. Um, so when we're traveling, it's like, okay, one thing I know now is like I don't want to rush because anytime I get in the rush frequency, that's when my nervous system starts to react like that. And when a car's coming in, I might flinch or, and it hurts. It's, that feeling, that shock feeling. I hate that. I don't like that. And now I'm so sensitive. Like the more I
Yeah.
recalibrate, the more I'm in my body, I'm even more sensitive now, which I didn't realize that was going to happen, by the way. And I think that's what ends up separating us from everybody is because it just can't be around other energies that don't align anymore. And I guess
Yeah,
they
because
kind of just spiral
yeah,
out of your life, right? They just like because the energies can't, they don't, they're like bumping off of each other. They're colliding. So, which is like the perfect example of a car, right? Driving in a car. So it's just like little things like slowing down, giving yourself enough time and not rushing and just knowing that I create my reality, right? So why am I going to rush my reality? If I'm there late, who cares? Like if I'm, like, oh well, like at the end of the day, what are they going to do to me? You know? Um,
Yeah.
but that's me standing in my power too, right?
yeah,
we have to get our authority and our standing in our authority and which is healing. It's all healing. And it's the part that nobody wants to talk about. They just want to say, go get in the med bed. Just go get in the med bed. You don't need to do any healing. It's such a trick.
it's the bypassing because like people want a magic pill, don't they? And that's the thing they want. They want to just go. We were talking about this the other day, weren't we? When I first wake up, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to go and have some Reiki, and then it's gonna fix me." And then
Mm-hmm.
what they don't realise is, yeah, you're having this energy work, but it fixes you because it brings all your shit to the surface, and you've got to sit with it. And they're like, my life's gone to crap. And it's like, well, no, you've gone on a healing journey. You've decided that you didn't want to be, poorly anymore or in disease. So you need to move into alignment. And what that means is all the stuff that's not in alignment in your life is going to leave, which, depending on how attached you are to it, is going to be really painful or not, depending on whereabouts you are. And I think it's making people aware of that, it's that responsibility, isn't it? It's not easy because it's years and years and years, like our entire lives, and all the ancestral trauma and all the rest of it that we've built up, we've got to let go. And if it was really easy to do, we'd all be ascended, wouldn't we?
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's not easy. I'm just so proud of all of us for actually taking this on and doing it and talking about it out loud, like humbling ourselves.
Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely.
Too. Really am too. Because, and I know for me, because when I started on the awakening path, it was so many years ago, and nobody was talking about it. And I started doing all this spiritual stuff and thinking positive, and I was like, oh, now everything's going to be rainbows and unicorns. And instead, I had a dark night of the soul, and I was like, I must have done something wrong. It's like, no, that was what you needed to do. It's like, what's it wrong?
Pink cloud. We
But,
were on
but
our pink cloud.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
We didn't know that. So that's one of the things I love to talk about, to tell people about, because I think a lot of people get into that and they're just like, oh, I'm not doing that anymore because last time I did that, my whole life fell apart and I was in despair. So, but that is just part of the process. Like you said,
Yeah. Yep.
let go of all those things that don't align with where you're going.
Yeah. Things have to
absolutely.
go, especially anything to do with these corporations, like a lot of that we have to remove ourselves from it. And then it's hard. It's really hard. And there's so many people and my friends are in it. And I just have to bless them and just know that they are strong enough to do it. And when their time comes, they will do it. But I
Yeah,
know they feel it. I do know they feel it. And I can tell you that for sure. So,
yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're winding it up a little bit. I'm going to have to go in a minute because my dog's getting a little bit antsy, Bester. But is there anything you want to kind of leave us with before we wrap this up?
Yeah, just thank y'all for having me on. And I'm just very I have a lot of gratitude to be able to like sit here and talk about this stuff with people. And, you know, I don't have a podcast, so I just kind of pop on people's shows, and I just want to share just that, you know, we are the magic. Like they tricked us and made us think that magic was outside of us. And it was just, you know, mythology and, you know, Disney, right? They just took it and they twisted it. But you really are magic. And you know, miracles happen, but you have to have the eyes and the ears to see it, which means you have to allow yourself to come back into yourself to see the miracles. And as you do that, more and more and more and more will come about. And just don't even try to figure it out. Never try to figure out a miracle. That's what made us separate. That's what made
Yeah.
the ego grow, was trying to figure out the magic and the miracles. And when that happened, that's when why we are in what's going on, you know. So just allowing, you know, you don't have to see it to believe it. You just believe it to see it, and it will show up. Um, and everything will open up for you, even if you're living in a space that you just don't think it would ever happen. It can happen, but you're creating your reality. You have to know it, you have to be it, you have to walk it, breathe it, and you have to live it, and it will slowly happen. It might not happen overnight, but it will happen. And sometimes it does happen overnight. You know, those kind of miracles, twinkle in the eye moments, happen all the time. So I'm going to just keep talking about what man really is, and keep embracing our authority and our power, and not giving it away to any sky gods, any sky beings, anything that's outside of us. You are the most powerful being in the universe with your thoughts. You don't even have to speak words, just your thoughts. So purifying yourself.
Absolutely, that was brilliant. Anything you want to add, Kirsten?
I just want to say we're so grateful you came on today, Rockelle. This has been so awesome, and I hope we can do it again. And thank you so much.
Yes, I will. I will definitely love to come on with y'all again. Thank you.
It's been
Thank
lovely
you,
having
ladies.
you. Thank you ever
Thank
so much.
It really has.
Thank you to all those at home
Yes.
watching. We hope you've enjoyed it. If you want to find Rockelle, do you want to tell us where we can get you on Twitter?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, and it's RockIsby17, and my name is Rock That Truth 17. And I'm also on TicToc under Rock That Truth 17. So that's where I do most of my work.
Awesome, and it's
right.
brilliant. Check her out. She's got some amazing posts.
Thank you. Thanks for saying that.
Really, yes,
thanks, ladies. Y'all have a good
we
night.
love you. We love you, Rock.
I love
Everybody.
y'all.
Beautiful day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Bye, y'all.
That's it. We got it.